How's it, and welcome to the Social Audit, where I take a local business, break down their social media strategy, and tell you exactly what I would do to fix it. Today, we got one of Hawaii's most beloved and biggest brands, Foodland. Locals love them, transplants love them, even tourists find out about them and love them. Everybody seems to love them, but I think they fall short in the social media department. So I'm gonna show you why that is, and at the end, I'm gonna tell you the exact videos I would create to get people to care online. Foodland is one of those businesses where they're a legacy Hawaii business. They don't really have any competition in the Hawaii grocery store space. You know, you think of Times, you think of Safeway maybe, but realistically, Foodland is kind of in a place of their own. And to me, I would put my money on them if I had to pick one brand that's ready to go move and succeed in the mainland. Now, obviously the roots is still always gonna be here, but I could envision Foodland excelling in cities like LA, Las Vegas, of course, Seattle, Bay Area, and I imagine them to be kind of like that niche Hawaii supermarket. One of the biggest reasons why I think Foodland is a strong candidate to go exceed on the mainland is because when I walk into Foodland, it feels very intentional. There's a certain feeling when you walk into Foodland. Maybe it's the interior design, or maybe it's how the staff treats you, or the local products that they have. It feels like Hawaii. Right? It feels like home. But to me, if you look at their Instagram, that feeling, that intention is not really reflected. So today, we're gonna look at their social media strategy and see if we can fix that. First thing off the bat, they do have a lot of followers. 132,000, that's no joke. But with 132,000 followers, I look at some of their posts, unless it's collabs, they're averaging under 500 likes. For their brand size, I think they could do better. And ultimately, the problem comes down to this. Their page looks nice. The grid is nice, they got high quality, but it doesn't say anything. There's no weight to that page. And for me, as a social media creator and a consultant for local businesses, the number one rule for social media strategy, number one rule, this never fails you, is that you have to create content about who you are and not what you're selling. Who you are and what you stand for is greater than what you do and what you're selling. So here's what I did. I analyzed every single one of Foodland's last 50 posts, and I categorized all of the 50 into 10 different buckets, 10 different content categories. Here's the results. Out of all the content, out of all the 50, 38 of the content pieces were considered promotional. And how I determined if a content was promotional is if the main point was showing something we're selling. It's, hey, here's something that we're selling. The other way you can think about this is if you ask yourself, is this post about the company and what we're doing, or is it about the audience? So 38 out of the 50 was promotional. We had 9 that was about food. All 9 of those were recipes, by the way. And then we had 2 about operations and hiring, and then 1 post about events. So even these 3 you could probably group into like kind of promotional. So that's 41 out of their last 50 posts promoting. That's a problem, guys. That's a problem. Because again, we don't want to be promotional. We don't want to build our content strategy around what we sell. We want to connect with people. We want people to understand who we are. And so I went into their website, and this is the first thing that's on their homepage. When I'm analyzing a website or I'm talking to a business, I'm looking for takeaways. I'm looking for main ideas, big ideas, things that communicate who you are. So when I go to Foodland's website, and this being the first thing I see, the main takeaways I'm getting from this, right? It says $6 eats and deals. Start your weekend with a tasty grab and go options like our Kalua pork bowl, mini bento, mini plates, and select sandwiches just for $6 all day, every Friday. So my takeaway from this front page, Foodland, they care about deals. They care about saving their customers money. They're cost conscious. What really interested me though was this tab, Our Story. Our founder, the late Maurice J. Sully Sullivan, had a great vision that a family-run, community-focused company that put customers first. If you scroll a little bit more down, you find this. Foodland is food, family, friends, and aloha. As Hawaii's largest locally owned and operated grocery retailer, we are committed to building both a better shopping experience and better Hawaii. We firmly believe that our community benefits from having a strong local supermarket, and we are dedicated to being a leader in serving Hawaii shoppers. So my takeaways from the Our Story tab is that Foodland is a community-first brand. They're people-oriented, and they are a leader in Hawaii. These are the things that they value. These are the things they care about. I also found this, commitment to local. Eating local is good for you, good for local farmers and producers, and good for Hawaii too. That's why we make it easy to identify local products in our stores. All right, their commitment to local. They care about eating local. They care about supporting local farmers. In fact, supporting local and eating local is so important to Foodland that they have a full webpage dedicated as a guide to all the local food that grows in Hawaii. This is pretty cool. And what's interesting, if you click on these buttons, this pops up. Local Spotlight, avocados. Hawaii boasts more than 200 varieties of avocados. That's a crazy number. And while they grow throughout the state, they are most prolific in coffee growing areas of the Big Island where wind conditions, elevation, and rainfall make for ideal conditions. So if you click on any one of their local products, they're gonna give you a fun fact. Now, my key takeaways, Foodland cares about eating local. They care about supporting local. They care about supporting local farmers. All right, and then next, they have a service promise. Now, this is pretty cool. I thought this was interesting. I don't know if any other company does this, but Foodland offers carry-out service. Serving you is the most important thing we do. That's why in addition to ending long lines, we also promise to carry out your groceries and help you load them into your car. So if you're a kupuna or if you need help carrying a bunch of groceries, Foodland got you. What else do they do? Their service promise, they end long lines. At Foodland, we know you have better things to do than stand in long checkout lines. That's why we've taken our customer service to a whole new level with this guarantee. Whenever there are 3 or more customers in line, we'll open another line. Okay, so my takeaways, right? From carrying out service to ending long lines, they care about top service. They care about taking care of community, kupuna, helping people carry their groceries out, building relationships, and overall just aloha. And then lastly, they had a whole section on their website just for recipes. What I noticed is that all of the recipes, they have hwache Korean fruit punch, pangi popo, bulgogi kimchi cucumber boats. Everything is kind of like culturally diverse. But also I was wondering like, what is this 5-ingredient meal? Why is that like a label? And I popped up lower on their website at this section called Foodland 5. We're expanding Foodland 5. While we'll continue to bring you new recipes, we'll also be sharing simple ways to use ingredients that you love and fresh ideas to make everyday cooking easy. All right, so they have a specific initiative to promote recipes with 5 ingredients or less. My takeaways are they care about just sharing food recipes, healthy eating, they care about local flavors and cultural diversity. So a quick recap. I know we just did a whole deep dive into their website, but let's quickly recap everything that we learned about Foodland. Foodland's website communicates all of this. It says, hey, we care about communities. We're investing in communities. We care about you as a local family. Overall, we celebrate local culture. We're a leader in Hawaii. We believe in Hawaii. But when we went to their Instagram, it didn't communicate that. Instead, their Instagram says, hey, buy our poke. Steak is on sale this week. There's a new bakery item, or try this ice cream. And then every once in a while, they'll say, oh, here's a recipe. So the question is, can we take these 38 posts and turn it into content about this? This is what we should be creating content about, these values. So what are the actual content ideas I would do? First and foremost, this is the first thing that stood out to me. Their commitment to local, encouraging people to support local farmers, to eat local foods. So the question is, how do we take this big value that Foodland has and make videos about them? You might be thinking, okay, easy. We got to make videos about local farmers, right? Can we just do meet the farmer, interview the farmer, get to know the farmer? That's actually better, right? As simple as that is, that's actually better than what Foodland is producing currently. But that is a very basic level 1 idea. What if we tried this instead? A concept called farmer wisdom. What if we had local farmers and we featured them where they educate us on crops? I'm thinking of ideas like what you should look for when picking a lettuce in the grocery store. What color are you looking for? What firmness are you looking for? Texture. What does the stems look like? Or second example, it's mango and avocado season right now. It would be a perfect time to go get a farmer and say, hey, here's how to tell when your mangoes are ripe. Or how long does it take your avocado tree to sprout avocados or your lychee tree to start growing? If Foodland cares about supporting local farmers, this is how they communicate that through social media. What about local food? They talk about, oh, local food's so good for you. Everybody needs to eat local food, blah, 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 blah. What if we did a challenge? A taste test, local versus imported, and just saying which one is better. All right, so here's something else on their website that stood out to me. Eating local is good for you, good for local farmers and producers, and good for Hawaii too. I'm a regular consumer. I don't know why that is. Can we make a video explaining this trifecta of it being good for everybody? It being a win-win-win. Educate me. Give me the health benefits. Give me a list. Give me the quality differences. Going back to this point, remember when we covered that they had cool facts and tips about all local foods in Hawaii? They already accumulated hundreds of facts. You can make a whole social media series about these facts. Every single one of these facts could be a different video or a different carousel. This one specifically is crazy. Hawaii boasts more than 200 varieties of avocados, and while they grow throughout the state, they are most prolific in coffee growing areas of the Big Island where wind conditions, elevation, rainfall make for ideal conditions. Okay, how's this content idea? Trying every avocado variety in Hawaii, part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, part 5. People are gonna be like, what the hell? How much avocados are there? And Foodland can own that concept. All right, next, we'll go back to the deals. Because right now, their only videos about this is they held their camera in front of their bento and they say, hey, look at this product we got. It's on sale this Friday. Viral concept. Let's get our popular local chefs. Let's give them a $6 budget. Make whatever you want with that $6 and then we'll compare how it tastes to our $6 deal. Or even if $6 is too crazy for the chef, double it. Give them 12. Now we're indirectly promoting the $6 deal. This one I like. What if whenever some kapuna is receiving carryout service, we get one of the Foodland guys, turn on the meta glasses, and get a video of the Foodland employee carrying out the groceries and helping pack it into their car. But that's not the content. The real content comes when the employee interviews or engages with the kapuna. What's the best advice you ever received? If they're a couple, if it's two of them, hey, what's the secret to a long-lasting happy marriage? What was the old Hawaii like? What's still on your bucket list? Who had the biggest impact on your life? That's the content. And then there's this. Everybody knows Foodland for their poke. In fact, it's Foodland's thing. They're the poke guys, right? I don't know if you guys see this. Foodland is always going viral for their poke. These are not views, guys. These are likes. 635,000 likes. 200,000 likes. These have probably 20 million views. 11,000 likes. The thing is though, it's not Foodland that's going viral themselves. It's other people going viral using Foodland's poke. That's not a bad thing. In fact, that's a good thing. You're getting free promotion. But here's where I think Foodland falls short. Foodland could be using this as an opportunity to catch some of that attention themselves directly, which is not really happening here. It's indirectly. If people see these videos, maybe they'll go to Foodland's page, but what's more likely is they'll go to this creator's page and scroll through all of their videos instead. For me as a creator, when I see a topic that's this hot on social media, it is like the biggest green flag in the world that I need to also be doing it too. So first and foremost, can we do a video series of tourists trying poke for the first time and getting their reaction? Can we do 3 levels of poke? Like hot ones, where they go not too spicy to very spicy wings. Can we do that for poke? Basic poke to like crazy poke, and have the tourists try all 3 and react to that. What about this? Poke orders depending on what high school you went to, or poke orders depending on your ethnicity. What if they wanted to make content about new poke flavors? I'm thinking ones inspired by local dishes. Bamusubi poke, or hurricane popcorn poke, or lihing poke, you name it. And if they go viral, then you put that flavor available in the store for a month for people to go try. If you have a hard time thinking of these flavors, just randomize it. 3 spins to make a random poke flavor. All right, so what about their recipes, guys? Recipes were the one thing that they were actually creating content around. The problem is they all are just, hey, here's a dish, here's how to make it. A brand like Foodland can do better. So here's my recipe ideas for Foodland. Why don't we talk about not just how to make the dish, but like what are the origins of the dish? What cultures did it come from? What cultures did it mix with? Tell the story of who taught you how to cook this. Foodland, they also are cost conscious. We talked about this. Here's how to cook for a family of 4 under $20. Here's how to use this one ingredient that's on sale this week in 5 different ways. Grandparent versus grandchild, who can cook better using these ingredients? Now, with all of that being said, I know that was a lot of feedback for Foodland. I don't actually think Foodland has to change their brand or reinvent themselves drastically. They're actually fine. Again, I think if there's one brand that I think is primed to go succeed on the mainland, not logistics wise, just brand wise, I think Foodland would be my choice. These are just some of my ideas, and I think even if they implemented 1 or 2, it will help them tell their story a little bit better. And that's kind of the bigger picture of this whole thing, is that I think that telling your story clearly on social media is where most of the Hawaii businesses are struggling. And then they're wondering why it's so hard to grow, or why nobody's really engaging, or why nobody's really connecting, and they don't have any online community. And over the long run, I firmly believe that if our local businesses can't adapt, they can't catch up to modern marketing, then we're gonna continue to see them disappear. We're already starting to see it happen. I think that with the way things are going, if we don't make change, that's gonna become very apparent sooner than later. So my goal for this series is to help elevate and push the social media marketing scene in Hawaii forward. With that being said, thanks for watching the social audit. If you have any brands you want me to cover next, let me know, and I'll see you on the next one.